Okay, this is something I've not seen that many people talk about, which really surprises me because usually the D&D creator space can be pretty rage-baity and clickbaity. So I thought I would rage-bait a little bit, because I am raged, but hopefully I can turn it into a nuanced take. It's all about D&D Beyond's new update. They changed the layout and design of the marketplace, kind of trying to make it look a little bit prettier, but let's face it, it's a marketplace, so it's here to sell books. And they changed how people in the US can purchase books, but they also took out a la carte purchases. And they also removed a few other things that I've not heard anyone speak about, and we'll get to that in a bit. But a la carte purchases are really the thing that has raged me here. You see, every one of these books that you could buy on D&D Beyond had items, spells, and monsters that you used to be able to just buy individually. Let's take Wither and Bloom, for example. It's a spell, which I believe is in the Strixhaven book. It used to be that I could scroll down to the bottom, and there would be just a list of everything in the book, and I could buy this individual spell for like $1.99. You know, rather than spend a full $29.99 for the full book. And I was going to do that. I've not heard great reviews about Strixhaven. I don't actually want the full book, but I have heard great reviews about Wither and Bloom. I want the spell. Now if I want the spell, gotta pay $29.99 for the full book. Speaking of other things that this whole update has actually removed, is that idea of a full list of everything that is in the book. It's no longer existing. There used to be a full list of all the spells. It would say 5 backgrounds and 2 feats, and it would list them. 5 college spells, it would list them. So now we're actually just getting less information in general on these pages. So why aren't that many people talking about it? Well, it seems like people just aren't bothered. Treant Monk, who is a great creator by the way, this is no slight at them, says that this is literally a microtransaction that's been removed, and an unnecessary one, since you can access the piecemeal stuff for free through Homebrew on D&D Beyond anyways. I gotta think programming these microtrans for the upcoming revised rules was going to be too difficult. And this got me thinking, microtransactions, yeah, and I'm seeing this all over the place. People like, microtransactions are bad, they should remove them, they shouldn't be in the game. And I started thinking, are microtransactions bad? Like, what is a microtransaction? Turns out it is a very small financial transaction conducted online. So these were microtransactions. But microtransactions aren't inherently bad, it's just cheap stuff that you can buy online. And I think most people hear microtransactions because it's got such a bad reputation from online free-to-play games and think, we don't want that in D&D. Remove all microtransactions. But actually, there's very much okay microtransactions, like these were, and there's bad microtransactions. Transactions where you have to buy a new currency. Like if D&D Beyond was like, get D&D books, that is confusing. Let's say, get D&D coins, and you can use D&D coins to then purchase spells and other small things. And it costs like $30 for like 100 coins, but they make it so that all the books cost a certain amount of coins, so you have to buy another 100 coins straight after. That whole thing is manipulative, and those are bad microtransactions. Same with loot boxes, where it's encouraging gambling. Of course we know that's bad. Same with FOMO, fear of missing out, that D&D Beyond have been playing with recently. For example, it seems like the newest book that was coming out, if you pre-ordered it last month, you would have the book now. But since I didn't pre-order it last month, I want to pre-order it now, I have to wait 20 more days. That's an unnecessary little thing that made me want to pre-order it early. Having transactions up for a short amount of time, people think they need to do now to get, otherwise it goes forever. That's bad microtransactions. But microtransactions, just small purchases, well, you could argue that my Patreon are microtransactions, because you know, you can support my content for as little as $3 a month. But I'm hoping these aren't bad microtransactions, because you can cancel anytime. I think D&D Beyond had good microtransactions. Here's a post from 2020 of someone explaining them. Every a la carte or compendium purchase you make is credited towards the full book price. This means that if you buy 10 spells, the full book price will be reduced. That's huge. That's not really a microtransaction anymore. You're literally just buying a piece of the book, and if you want to go back and buy more of the book, it gets cheaper and cheaper. Maybe you do end up spending more. I mean, you will, because it has a minimum $1.99 price on all transactions, but the idea that you can buy it in pieces and the whole book gets cheaper and cheaper rather than buying the full thing flat out is exceptional. You can kind of try before you buy a little bit, or just take what you need. Like in my example of the Strixhaven situation, I don't want a book, just give me my spell. On that note, something else taken out in this marketplace update, as far as I can tell anyway, are the bundles they used to have. They used to have deals where you could buy every book on the platform at a discounted price. Or you could buy the source rulebooks, or you could buy all the source books or all the adventure books as their own bundle. Now don't get me wrong, it was incredibly expensive, like thousands of dollars to get all the books, of course, but it was the same deal. The more books you owned from a particular bundle, the cheaper that bundle would get. And I think it was many people's intentions to keep buying books, knowing that one day, if they fell into a lot of money, they could just get all the books and it would be cheaper because they owned half of them already. These were customer-facing features of the marketplace. They were good for customers, and hopefully they were good for D&D Beyond as well. I mean, probably not, since they are changing it, but the idea that you could buy a spell for $1.99, and people were doing this, they must have been making money on that, because I don't believe a spell is worth $1.99. You're paying extra for the ability to buy it individually. And look, when I decided to make this video, I was worried that I was going to come across as like just a whiny guy, like they're changing what I know, and I don't like it, and that's probably true to an extent. But hey, it's my channel, I can whine if I want to. And you know, I am aware that this is D&D Beyond's website. It's their prerogative to change things if they want to. This could have been too expensive for them to keep up. It could have been too technically difficult. And you know, well, I can complain. It's ultimately up to Wizards of the Coast, the people who own D&D Beyond, about what happens on that site. Though I am also a subscriber, and I do pay them monthly. So there is that. I would at least expect better communication about what they're changing and why they're changing things. And then there's also the added elephant in the room that Wizards of the Coast won't get away from for a while, and that is that they publicly have said that they are trying to make more money through D&D. So any changes that I see happening in the D&D Beyond marketplace, I automatically think is happening because D&D, Wizards of the Coast, think they can make more money out of me. I mean, it has to make them a lot of money now that the smallest amount you can spend on their site is $29.99, you know, rather than $1.99. Also, I'm just curious, have they put in the Player's Handbook blurb that there is a new updated Player's Handbook coming out in like a few months? Because they should, but that's for another video. So I don't know why they've made these changes. It could be laziness. I can honestly believe it could be laziness. If we check out Tome of Beasts, which is new partnered content that they have released, there is 409 monsters. I wouldn't want to be the guy that has to like build this page up to show all 400 monsters and have them all priced. And I think they could treat partnered content differently, but then why are they doing that? And in fact, the partnered content in general that they are working with, this could be an ongoing thing. It's like, I'm sure every purchase of Tome of Beasts that happens, Kobold Press gets a little bit of money. But then how do you deal with individual transactions? Kobold Press get a little bit of money every time someone buys one monster. But that just seems like a hurdle to get over. It seems very easily negotiated and worked out. These changes could also be money grabbing, or it could just be laying foundations for some other planned stuff in the future. The reason why this has hit me so hard and enraged me is that this all goes hand in hand with the many gripes I have with D&D Beyond. I do hear a lot of people also saying, don't use D&D Beyond. All this stuff is up for free on other platforms and sites. But you need to know about me that I'm a bit of a paladin when it comes to stuff like this. That is pirating, and I don't want to do that. I made a deal with myself in my early 20s when I didn't have a job and I was pirating stuff because I love TV shows and I couldn't afford to get cable or move into a lot of the streaming services. So yeah, I used to pirate TV shows. Don't tell anyone, but I made a promise to myself that when I had a job and was making money and was in a position where I would stop pirating, because it is taking money away from the creators and the people who worked on this stuff. It also helps that I worked in the TV industry. So I always thought that if I was pirating, I was kind of taking money away from people like me. But I very much know that I am a paladin. I do have like a high horse mentality when it comes to this stuff. I just want to use an official site like this. However, certain items just don't work well on D&D Beyond. Official items, like a lot of the stuff from Call of the Netherdeep, the Critical Role book, the items are there and they almost work, but sometimes like they don't register when you use them like other items do, and they have been complained about, and it feels like D&D Beyond have no interest in going back and fixing broken stuff like that. Also, the encounter builder on the site has been in beta for like 4 years. which I think the reason why is that while it's in beta, they can keep it as for subscribers only, because subscribers get access to stuff in beta before anyone else. So it's kind of a perk that they probably should make free to everyone and should definitely be finished by now, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's a lot of work going into it, but it's a glorified database and initiative tracker. So just in general, updates for this stuff we can actually use is incredibly slow. And don't get me started on the search functionality. I made a short about this. I know a lot of people talked about it in the past as well, but if I wanted to find Firebolt and I just wanted to type in Firebolt, it doesn't show up because there's actually a space between fire and bolt. Just about every other site in the world that has any search functionality would be able to kind of figure out that if I type Firebolt, all one word, I'm more likely trying to find Firebolt with a space than I am Furbolg. So if I throw the space in there, it comes up. Also, so does Firebolt is not listed as a sorcerer spell, which is just weird. Same thing if I search Fireball. Firebolt, Fireback, Fireband, Firebalm, Firebard. Where's Fireball? Well, there's no space in Fireball, and it won't figure out that I probably mean Fireball. This is infuriating, and has been an issue for years. All that and one of my biggest gripes, which is if I look at sources and want to read one of my books, then I get a list of all sources in the goddamn game. Now, I just want to look through my library. Just show me the books I own. It's impossible as far as I can tell. In my opinion, the site has a lot of issues that they should probably be prioritizing to fix, but instead they're making changes to the marketplace and removing features that were good for customers. So when I decided to make this video, it was kind of brought about by three things. One was to feed the never-ending content machine that is YouTube and chase validation. The second thing was that this has genuinely upset me that they are doing this, removing things from the site. And the third, and hopefully the best reason, is that we have a track record at this point of people who own DnD Beyond, Wizards of the Coast, making questionable money-making business decisions and going in a certain direction, and the community pushing back hard enough people making videos like this, that they actually backtrack and undo the bad stuff they were doing. Now, I don't think this is going to happen here, because like I said, I've not seen enough people annoyed by this, so it could be a lost cause this time. This is me throwing this video into the ring. Let me know in the comments if there's anything in DnD Beyond that you really do not like and you think needs fixing. Let me know if there's anything that you think it does really well, and let me know if you're just a rogue to my paladin and you just pirate all your D&D stuff, because I would be interested to know how many people do that. Oh, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.